What's up? BigHerc916. Positivity, motivation, never settle for average. You know, we do it over here. This video popped up on my IG and I thought I would share it with you guys. So you have this young black woman with a blonde wig talking about these young black men who are dressing proper, presentable, wearing button up shirts, some of them collared shirts, not sagging, not wearing hoodies. She said that they're trying to dress white. Check it out.
Maybe I'm too woke, but I don't find the quarter zip shit funny. I don't know. I don't even understand what y'all are trying to communicate to us. Y'all are essentially dressing up as white men. Suits, quarter zips, like associating yourself with this like stereotypically white style. Do y'all not see how that's one, offensive to you as a black person, upholds white supremacy, but is also reductive of your like
I know this
humanness?
is a very stupid argument, but this is part of the ignorance among certain people when they try to associate a dress style with a particular race. So if you have an Asian guy dressing in a suit and tie, is he dressing white? If you have a Hispanic guy dressing in a polo shirt and nice shorts, is he trying to be white? What is trying to be white? That's what happens when you don't know your history and you don't look at how fashion has evolved, style has evolved, and you don't know anything about style or fashion. Dressing proper or dressing, I don't know what you would call it, like GQ, is across the board in all races and nationalities. You can go to a variety of countries and there are people within those countries dressing proper in a way that could be considered GQ or stylish or whatever you want to call it. They're not wearing skinny sweats with their ass hanging out. They're not wearing a hoodie. They're not wearing necessarily the Yeezy slippers. They're dressing like they are prepared to possibly go into a job interview to meet somebody that's important. I remember a friend of mine was telling me he always wears a button-up shirt and a tie all the time, especially during the work week. You know, weekends he's a little bit more casual, but he said in the corporate world or in the business world, you never know who you're going to run across. And when you're dressed a certain way, it commands a certain type of attention and it sends out a certain message, like a vibe. So dressing in what appears to be white, but because your skin is darker and melanin, has nothing to do with you trying to be white. And it's sad that some people think like this. And as far as, you know, in the black culture, if you look at like just even in, you know, you go back to Harlem and some of the there's some of the older pictures and depictions of blacks who are wealthy. They all dressed in suits. Black people were always dressing sharp, man. Sunday, especially for church, but there were some brothers, man. Them dudes with sharp dressers, man. They didn't. It was such a big thing in the community to be presentable because it's like if you went outside of that and a white person saw you, you were, if you didn't have nice clothes on, you were, you know, assumed to be somebody poor, not very well represented, and you would get harassed. The whole dress thing kind of separated you to where it made it more intimidating for the police to even want to approach you for you know, the thought of maybe you might be somebody who could come back and sue them, or it could have consequences. So dressing has nothing to do with it, neither does talking. I always used to get that, especially in prison. You try to talk like a white boy, or, you know, you talk really proper. You know, a lot of guys ask me in prison, what are you in here for? Because the way I articulated myself, it was the assumption that I was in there for something, maybe white collar, credit card, because I didn't use nigga talk. You know, I could. I'm familiar with nigga talk, but I didn't use nigga talk in my regular conversation because that's not how I was brought up. And I apologize for using that word, but that's what's on the internet, and that's what these dummies promote. The YNs, because you got to distinguish. YNs is not black people. They niggas, man. My grandpa never used the word. My grandma never used the word, but I know why, because they didn't want to be associated with that, and they're from the South, and I was associated with it, and I realized that I was doing my community an injustice, but it wasn't until I got more mature in my age that I seen the difference and why they always told me to articulate my words. My mom used to get after me about my pronunciations, about using my lips to say certain vowels, certain letters, speaking with clarity, not mumbling. There wasn't no mumbling in the house. It wasn't none of that. It's almost as though they reversed everything that the generations before us did to make us to where we represented something of accomplishment. Right after the civil rights movement, all the stuff happened. The welfare program, the government assistance, and then the drugs flooded in the communities, the gang stuff. They just wanted to just destroy the community, and one way you do that is by how you present yourself, how you talk, your education, and yeah, it's all tied in. And then here she is with a blonde wig on, talking about they're trying to be white. It's so stupid, man. You're not trying to be anything. You're just being yourself. Why can't you be whatever color and talk like you have some sense, or dress like you want to be presentable? What's wrong with wearing a collar net shirt? What's wrong with wearing a tie? I mean, what's wrong with wearing a cardigan sweater? What's wrong with dressing proper? If you choose, if you want to sag, you want to wear all the stuff, hoodies, t-shirts, whatever. I mean, I'm in a tank top. I mean, that's your prerogative. But because somebody is dressed in a certain way, it shouldn't say that, oh, you're trying to be something you're not. That maybe that's who your identity is with the way you present yourself. And a lot of people don't want to hear it. And, just keeping it 100, if you see somebody that's dressed proper like that, you're going to be like, wow, you're going to actually perceive them differently than somebody you see in a hoodie sagging with their ass out. I see somebody with their ass out, I'm looking like it's a young YN. Because proper black people are not wearing sagging pants with their ass cheeks hanging out. You're not showing your underwear. You're not. You're not wearing, you don't have a hoodie on when it's 90 degrees with the hood over your head. If I've seen that in a 90-degree weather, I'm looking for something because you're up to something. So stupid, man. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. BigHerc916.